guys, and welcome to our patch notes breakdown video. As some of you may know, but not all of you, I've been out for quite a while with a back injury. I haven't been able to produce videos or live streaming like that. I am still healing, trying to get to the point where I can sit in this chair without being in extreme pain for more than a little bit of time. So I'm going to try to get this video done in one go so I don't have to keep doing it over and over again. And instead of doing a 2 or 3 part video like I normally do for patch notes, it's going to be one long patch notes video. So I hope you guys are strapped in and ready to go. Let's go ahead and start with the new mode. Alright, new mode is Clone Clash, and I'm not gonna read this to you. I'm gonna break it down for you real quickly. You're gonna go into a 5v5 game on the entire battlefield, and each team is gonna pick one hero, and that hero is going to be the hero that all 5 players are playing. So it's gonna be 5v5, all one hero, all the other hero. So interesting, I guess. It could be fun. I don't think it's necessarily going to be game changing like that, but it's a nice little gimmick game mode that they're going to add to the game. System optimization, new features, Seal of Kings. They're going to be giving out a Seal of Kings to everyone who gets to master rank or higher at the end of each season, so you can keep gaining Seals of Kings and show off. Pretty simple. Popular builds. You can now select the popular builds in the hero menu in place of the current builds. And then we have hero lane icon. In the hero menus, they're going to see a hero lane icon on the bottom right corner of the screen that's going to tell you what lane is recommended for that hero. And then we have the ability now to hide your combat history. I don't like this one. I really like being able to check people's combat history. I think it's important. I don't like the fact that it can be hidden. If you hide it, you suck. Stop hiding your combat history and let the world see what you've been up to. Bulk item sell pack. You'll be able to sell items in bulk in your backpack now through a single tap. Then we have the AIC UI edition. They just changed the way the game looks in celebration of the new Valor International Championship. And then you're going to start getting anniversary gifts. So every year you're going to get a gift for playing the game for a year. Mine is going to be on December 19th, which is the day the game launched in NA. Then we have the system optimizations. MVP rating. The MVP rating will now be rewarded with a more reasonable rating by taking class into consideration. Now, I hope that this is broken down properly. So the one way this could go, and the way that it sounds to me like it's going to go, is that they're going to be giving the MVP rating. They're going to weigh them differently, the actual stuff based on your position. So you might get a more favorable rating if you're a support or something, or like a side lane, as opposed to like an assassin or marksman or a mage. I hope that's not what they do. I hope what they do is they weight the different statistics that they have in the game differently for each class. For example, if you're playing a support, for example, assist and damage taken and low amounts of deaths would be weighted a lot more towards your MVP rating than kills or damage done. Likewise with like a assassin or a jungler, that they would weigh kills, damage done, and maybe even towers taken if they can do that, or dragons, or even just all objectives as a whole. Kills, damage done, and objectives and low amounts of death would be weighted higher than assist and damage taken. Doing your job properly, doing this, filling out the statistics that are more important for your role. Now that won't make the MVP system perfect, but I think it would be a great help that they would weight, so they wouldn't just automatically make supports easier to get MVP because they don't get them enough as it is. I hope that they just weigh the statistics different amounts for each person when deciding the total MVP score. That's my hope. We'll find out. Popular builds. The popular builds ranking system has now been overhauled and now takes win rate and recent usage into consideration when weighing their popularity. And there's a couple reasons why that's really important. Now, I wish they would do this a little bit better, and what I wish they would do is that they'd have an option to sort by like time frame, like all time most played builds, or like the last month or the last week or whatever, right? So we'd have a way to really sort through the recency of when we're talking about those builds being played. And then secondly, I wish that they would add a win rate, so we could see like the highest win, like instead of the most games played, the highest win rate over the last month would be a really cool way if you could sort like that. Now, that would be my dream. That's not what they're doing. What it sounds like what they're doing is that they're going to be simply taking a combination of recent games played plus win rate to decide which one's the most popular builds. And now that is a good thing in and of itself. It's not ideal to where I'd want it to be, just like the MVP rating, but it is a good thing because things change. So if we had, Soul Reaver, for example, is getting changed, or heroes are getting buffed and nerfed and changed, so items get buffed and nerfed, and the way you build heroes changes based on the patches. So instead of being like, oh yeah, you know, this build got 100,000 gameplays with this build before, but then these 2 items have been nerfed significantly, well, that's not a viable build anymore. So it's going to be presenting more viable builds on the popular section than before. That's always a good thing. I still think you should come to Sunbros and get real builds, but that's just me. Recently used heroes, it's going to reflect that in ranked matches Diamond and above more appropriately. To reflect the heroes you've recently used in ranked, not overall. So what happened is you go into casual, you mess around on heroes you don't play in ranked, and then you'd go into a ranked game in the pick ban mode, and it would be showing your recently used heroes as heroes you don't actually use when you're playing ranked and playing seriously. Atlas guide, so a little Atlas guide display in the bottom right. It's going to show better when you have something to open and things to get. You're going to be able to open multiple chests at the same time now. Your first purchase reward, instead of receiving one free present hero, so now when you buy your first vouchers in the game, you get Zephyrus. Well, now you're going to get an option of 3 different heroes to choose from, and Zephyrus is now going to be added onto the shop so that you can buy him, I believe, with gold and vouchers instead of just by buying vouchers. We have some battlefield changes. So here's some interesting stuff. So in the current meta, marksmen tend to jungle the most. We want to encourage jungling among more hero types so that lineups and tactics become more varied. We hope to achieve this by adjusting the economics of jungle monsters and mini waves coupled with other battlefield mechanics. Now, I've already seen the change. Sorry about that. I mean, somebody subscribed to the channel. I've already seen the changes they've done as far as I've already looked these over. I haven't looked over everything in the patch notes, but I have looked over the battlefield changes, and I don't think they're going to get their results that they're looking for. Now, they've reduced the gold you get from jungling by about 10% by reducing the Sage and Might Golem gold, the gold of the 4 other jungle minions, and then the highest gold cap that happens as gold increases to how much you can get in the jungle up to 165%. They're going to reduce that to 150. Now, the reason I don't think it's going to achieve what they're looking for, ideally what they're trying to achieve is they're trying to be more like League of Legends. League of Legends is the parent game that's played on the PC. So it's the adult MOBA, as you will, that you play on PC as opposed to the mobile version. And in the adult MOBA in League of Legends, junglers tend to be more support type heroes, tank type heroes, and then like hardcore warrior, like off tank type heroes, more than assassins and marksmen. And I feel like this is what they're trying to move towards a little bit. So it's not just marksmen, but I feel like what they've done here, I don't think this is the right way to go about it. What they've done here instead is they've made it so that you can only jungle on certain heroes now. Some of the criteria for being a jungler is you have to be able to make enough gold to make it worthwhile. Well, now they've reduced the amount of heroes that can farm fast enough in the jungle to upkeep their gold to be worthwhile. So I think what they've actually done here is done the opposite, and they're going to see that it's less people are going to be viable in the jungle than before, which was not what they wanted. But when all you do is reduce the jungle gold. And I know they've also nerfed the jungle item and a couple other things, but what this really does in my mind is it's making it so less total heroes are going to be able to farm fast enough to remain viable in the jungler, which is the opposite of what they wanted. Now, they're also slightly buffing minion waves, so the max gold cap is at 9.5 minutes instead of 10 minutes. It's 30 seconds. You're going to get a little bit more gold. It's not going to make a difference. Towers, now this is interesting on towers. When there's no minion waves, towers are now going to take 80% less damage instead of 70% less damage. I think that they're trying to slow the roll of the hardcore bullying team comps that are able to just destroy towers whether or not there's minions or not. They're trying to help out a little bit. I think that this is going to help some, probably not to the extent they want. I would probably change this to 90% to ensure that killing a tower without minions around is really, really hard to do to virtually impossible. The Drake that you get from killing the Darkslayer, made some changes to that. The movement speed has been reduced, and there was an issue before where if you didn't summon the Drake in time, the time ran out, the Drake would auto summon. Now that's gone. You have to actually hit the button and summon it. Also, they fixed a bug where people could still summon the Drake while they were dead. And then there's a new mechanic. The Drake can only survive for a maximum of 3 minutes after being summoned, regardless of what's going on. So that's good too. I like all those changes. I think it just adds a little bit more of a need to be smart with the Drake, as opposed to just like, oh, if I don't hit it, it'll just summon itself when the time runs out. Or if I'm dead, it'll just summon. I can summon it while I'm dead still. No, now you got to be really smart of how and when you use it and where you use it, because it even moves slower. So I like that a lot too. Now we're moving on to hero balance adjustments. Okay, so the Flash, the first guy, he gets his movement speed reduced, and they've changed his ultimate Cyclone. They've upped the damage, 50, 75, and 100 per those 3 levels. The actual scaling is the same at 60%. And they've reduced the stun from 1 second to half a second, but they've added a 1 second 50% slow. I don't think it's going to be a tremendous change for the Flash. I feel like good Flashes can ult and still get off the abilities they need to finish somebody off who got ulted. While this is more of a team fighting aspect, I think, but it's still 1.5 seconds of crowd control instead of half a second of crowd, or a full second of crowd. So it's more crowd control, less overall hard stun. I don't think it's gonna make a tremendous change. Now, Oz and Kaz changes, I think, are a much bigger deal than people think they are. They have changed his passive Sand Trap. So when you hit somebody with an ability or an auto attack, they used to get a mark, and the mark used to last 5 seconds. Now they last 6 seconds before you obviously get another mark and refresh that timer. Then they've removed the following mechanic: cannot apply to the same target within 2 seconds. So Azenka's passive can now be applied to the same target with no time limit. Now the reason why this is important is because if you remember his ultimate is a big circle that slows really badly, does a lot of damage. Well, now every 2 seconds you get a mark, and after a certain amount of marks you get stunned. Well, now that it's not every 2 seconds, every time you take damage from his ultimate, you're going to get a mark, and then that's going to cause you to get stunned more frequently and much, much faster. So Azenka's overall got a massive buff. So now if he auto attacks you and hits an ability on you, you're going to get stunned a lot faster and more frequently. Especially though when the ult's going on and you're inside the ult, it's going to be a big deal. I think Azenka is going to be much stronger in this next patch because his crowd control abilities just skyrocketed. There's still some more nuances to Azenka to figure out whether he'll be super viable, but I think this goes a tremendous way in helping him. Next is Gilder, and Gilder got a change to his passive Midas Touch. He's now going to get a shield. So that's really good. It's going to be, instead of 100 and then 60% scaling, it's going to be 160 base, 20 per level, and then 30% scaling. And then Tulin got an increase to his movement speed. Now this is the guy that got a lot of changes, Ignis. So they increase his growth HP by a significant margin, a lot. It's a big increase for a growth HP increase for a hero. They increase his growth armor significantly also. I mean, these numbers may not seem like a lot, but percentage-wise, they're quite a bit. The growth armor is about 15% growth, and then the growth HP is almost 20% growth. It's like somewhere between 15 and 20%. And then the passive Sacred Flame. Now this is interesting. The passive used to go off based on one thing. Any ability. If any ability hit an enemy, it would add a mark on. Okay. Now only the first ability adds marks. Now they've changed that too. So we'll go over this kind of in chunks here. So let's go over the first ability first. Ability 1, Fire Crash. They've shortened the time it takes for the back. So when you hit somebody or a minion or anything with the first ability, which is the Fireball, goes out, bam, hits somebody, and there's a big backdraft of fire damage that happens, like an AoE cone behind that. Well, now they've shortened the amount of time it takes for that thing to go off and happen to 0.2 seconds. So it's going to happen a lot faster. It's going to be a lot harder to avoid the backdraft damage or the backswing damage. They've increased the width of the projectile, so to 2.5 instead of 2. That's a significant 25% increase in the actual size of the fireball itself. And then they've increased the length, so it's going to be longer now. Again, another significant amount. That's 75% bigger. So the fireballs are going to be a lot easier to land than they were before. And they've also, now they've decreased the damage significantly. We're going to go over that in just a second. Yeah, let's go over that. Let's finish that up real quick. They're going to, this is quite a bit of stuff, so let's go here. Okay, so the damage got reduced late game from 820 at level 6 to 620, and then the scaling went down from 70% to 50%, and then 920, then you get a shield. So when you hit somebody with a fireball, and then you hit him again, when you hit somebody who was marked, rather, you would get a shield. That was the, that's what you get. So you get abilities, special abilities for hitting marked targets with all 3 of your abilities. When you do with the first ability, you get a shield. Now they've decreased the size of the shield from 925 at level 6 to 800, and from 80% scaling to 65% scaling. And they've reduced the duration of the shield from 3 to 2 seconds. They've also reduced the mana cost of your first ability from 40 to 30, and then from 65 to 50 at level 6. Now, what this all means to you is a couple different things. Now, first of all, the passive has changed so that when you consume the passive mark, you get the cooldown of your first ability instantly refreshed. Okay, now why is this important? You're going to be able to cast a lot more of your first ability, and that's why they reduced the mana cost. Now, before hitting any ability twice, so if you hit somebody with your fireball and then your second ability, you would proc the ability to use your mark of the flame to do the additional abilities on each of the abilities, the additional like effects on each ability. Now you also get healed, and the healing has gone up significantly. The amount of healing you get for using your mark. But now what they've done is they've increased the amount of time that a mark lasts, and they made it so you only have to do it one time to proc it, which is really cool. So now you're going to be able to proc the mark, a special effect on each ability a lot more frequently. Ignis got a massive buff here. It's going to mean a lot to him and his success. I'm really excited to see what he can do after this is all completed. So that's his first ability is passive. Then we move on to his second ability, Rain of Fire. Ability backswing is shortened by 0.1%. I'm not sure what the ability backswing means on this one. I thought what they meant is the backdraft from the first ability, but now I'm a little confused. And then the ability backswing is shortened by 0.1%. So the abilities are, I guess, are faster to cast. I'm not exactly sure what that all means, the ability backswing, but I assume it means they're faster to cast. If somebody knows better, correct me in the comment section. I appreciate it. Next, we're moving on to Alistair. His third ability, his ultimate, is getting a reduction in its duration from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds. Enemy will continue to be held during the ultimate and can't resist or be purified for the duration. Interesting. So, you used to be able to use abilities to break out of Alistair's ultimate. Now you cannot, but they've shortened it. Now, I do wonder so there's two ways to getting out of Alistair's ultimate. You either purify or use an ability that removes crowd control effects, or somebody does some kind of hard crowd control to Alistair, whether he gets stunned, knocked back, knocked up. That stops him from channeling his ultimate. Now, I assume he can still be knocked out of his ability to channel the ultimate, but now a person in and of themselves can't get out of it with any other means, which is really a solid buff to Alistair, I think, overall. Vera is the next on our list, and she is getting her basic movement speed up, the range of her stun up, and the range of her ultimate up. So she's getting some nice range bonuses as well as movement. So I think that's going to help Vera. Again, she's still a single target damage, mage, so she still has her limitations, but it's definitely going to help some. Next, we're moving on to L'Oreal. And, okay, so now what they've done to L'Oreal is they've changed. So if you guys remember before, L'Oreal's passive used to go off, and it used to explosion of true damage, and it used to cause a 90% slow. They reduced it down to 50%, which was a little excessive. L'Oreal went from the best mage in the game, hands down, to mid-tier. So L'Oreal now has gone, it's gone from 50 to 90%. It scales with hero level. So that's going to help L'Oreal a lot late game. It won't help her early game, but it will make her a lot more potent late game. Could, again, push L'Oreal into the discussion of being one of the top tier mages. We'll have to find out after we play her some. Next, we're going to be doing Diachan. Her first ability, Chilling Frost, which is not her stun, but is her just little frost damage, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I guess I could pull up the game and check to be certain. So let's take a look. They've upped the damage, the scaling damage. It's 50 at level 1 and then 150 at level 6, but they've lowered the scaling from 85% to 75%. So that's definitely different. Damage-wise, it'll be more early game, less late game. For sure, 10% is 150 damage, so it'll really be the same. Late game, it'll be the same. It just helps early game a tiny bit, so it's not really a lot of difference. Then they changed the frost mark duration. So we're going to go to Diachan on our phone here and take a look. And we're going to see for sure what's all happening here with Diachan. Okay, so first ability for Diachan places the mark for 6 seconds. When the targets are marked and they're hit with Chilling Frost again, they get rooted for a second. So that's right. That's what the Frost mark makes so that if you hit them with the Chilling Frost ability again, they get rooted for a second. So it's like another freeze. Okay, so now obviously the damage has been reduced. It's interesting. Next they move. So that's interesting changes. Then they do their second ability, Diamond Dust. Now that's their stun. That's the actual freeze. The movement delay caused when casting this ability is shortened. I'm not sure what that means, to be honest with you. I assume it means that it takes less time for it to cast, so the animation shows up, and then it casts. Sorry, I got the hiccups. But I am not 100% positive on that one. Interesting. Looks like Dai-Chan's getting 2 buffs, though. They both definitely seem like buffs. So they're going to go off faster now, is what I think it says. Next, we're going to be moving on to Preda. They have changed his ultimate, Disciple of the Plague. The attack speed boost is increased from 10 to 20%. The cooldown is decreased. Whew, man. And the mana cost is decreased. So, wow. An upgrade to Preda's ultimate across the board. Phenomenal. Now Preda's going to be able to ult every, what? Let's see. We got it. 40% cooldown reduction is going to be 12 seconds. So you're talking about every 18 seconds he's going to be able to hit his ultimate at level 3. That's impressive. The attack speed boost going up 20% is also really critical. If you guys go to the Preda how to build video, the way I build Preda is built around the power of her ultimate, and now it's way more potent than it used to be. So Preda is definitely moved up. She was already a top 5 mage for me, or he, or whatever the hell Preda is. Preda was already top 5 mage for me. Now is moved up even further. I mean, this is a big time buff. Next, we're moving up to Yorn. I don't know if there's anything you can do to Yorn that's going to make him less sucky. Let's see. Armor increase, HP growth increase, attack speed growth decrease. So he attacks slower now. Attack damage growth decrease. So he's gonna be doing less damage, but a little bit more tanky. Now his passive, Fierce Shot. The physical damage of each volley, which is they just changed the way they did it all together, from 70% of your AD to 75 base, plus 4 per level, plus 40% AD. So let's do a little math and see. I'm gonna see if I can bring the calculator up on the screen for you guys. So I'm gonna do a little math here, and we'll see what that means. So generally, you could get to about 780 on a decent damage build. I think it's pretty common. Say 700 is a round number. In fact, I'll take somebody into a game and just test that theory out a little bit. Let's take a marksman into a game and just see what kind of AD we can get into. Okay, so while that's loading, let's just go with a 700 number for now. We used to just get 70% of that, so times 0.7. So 490 damage per volley is what we used to get. Now it's going to be, so let's say it's 75 base. It's plus 4 per level. So let's say 4 times 15. 4 times 15 gives us a solid 120 plus the base of 75. So that's 195, and then we get 40%. So 700 times 0.4 plus 195. So we're at 475 where we used to be. I already forgot. 700 times 0.7. So 495 compared to 490. So it's really the same amount. It just makes them weaker early game, and it makes them scale up a little bit of that. It's really not a ton of difference on his damage at all. So I wouldn't really think that's end game. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference. And then, all right. So let's go to the calculator. Oh, well, let's see. So then ability 1 got changed. Explosive arrow. The ability backswing is shortened by 1%, by 0.1 seconds. I really don't know what the ability backswing is supposed to mean, but apparently it's changing for a lot of people. The stun time went up from 7.75 to 1, and the damage is increased significantly from, excuse me, let me get back to my menu on my phone. From 120 to 175 level 1 to 245 to 300 level 6. And the scaling is from 54% to 75%. So it's actually a pretty significant increase of the damage to his first ability, which gives the stun. And the stun is increased by a significant amount also. This might make Yorn a little bit more usable. A little bit. I said a little bit. He's still not going to be anything strong. Then we have ability 2, Heavenly Barrage. Now that's the little circle that moves slowly and drops arrows down. The backswing is shortened, whatever the hell that means. And then the cooldown is shortened from 20 to 18 at level 1. And then it equals out to the same 15 seconds at level 6. And then the ultimate backswing, the backswing on his ultimate is shortened by 0.2 seconds. Again, whatever the backswing means. I really am not sure. Next, we're moving on to Talanas. Talanas is getting changed. Her growth HP is changing from 176.3 to 190.8. her first ability, Eagle Eye, which is the one that increases her range and gives her increased attack speed and damage. Or just damage, one or the other. The normal attacks deal an additional 100 at level 1, 200 at level 6, plus 10% scaling, magic damage. The change is that they're going to go from that to 40 base at level 1, 80 base at level 6, and then to 55% scale. So let's see, based on the same, formula we use at the 700 attack damage, which is more or less correct. I'm gonna go back into a game and just double check that, because I think that's pretty close to being correct. The numbers don't have to be exact. We're just trying to find out how different it is anyways. So let's get into a trial game. We'll see. But based on the formulation of 700, so 700, before we were getting, at level 6, we were getting 200 plus 70. So 270. Now we're going to be getting 700 times 0.55. That's 385 plus 80. So we're looking at going from 270 to 465. That's almost double the damage that you're going to get extra late game. So let me build out Violet real quick. What the heck? They've changed the way you do the trial modes now, which is interesting. Added some stuff to it. So I'm building out Violet fully. A fairly standard attack damage build, just to see what we're going to get to. And yeah, we're at 750 on attack damage. So that's probably a little bit attack damage heavy. I think some attack speed heroes will be less than that, but 700, 750 range is where we're looking at. So, I mean, you're talking about a substantial amount, and you guys know if you build her attack speed, now you're going to really want to build Violet, Talana's attack speed, because she's going to be attacking. I mean, that magic damage boost is significant. That's talking about going from 270 to 465 at the end game. That's a significant boost, and if you build more attack speed, 465 magic damage per attack with high attack speed is a big difference, and I think could be awesome. Valheim's attack speed growth has been reduced from 4 to 3%, so he's going to grow attack speed at a slower rate. That's how much he gets per level. His passive Pocket Glaive. Stun time of Glaive decreased from 1 to 0.75 seconds. And the base damage of passive Glaive has been decreased from 100 to 80, from 12 to 10 per level. So across the board, Valheim getting a slight nerf. I don't think it's anything super significant, but it's definitely a nerf. Excuse me. I can't stop freaking hiccuping. Then we're on to the Joker. Ability 3, new mechanic for canned laughter. That's his ultimate. The attack speed is increased by... That's a new mechanic. That's just straight buff. I don't think he had an attack speed boost at all. So now he's going to get a level 3 and a level 1 50% and a level 3 100% attack speed boost for 4 seconds after casting his ultimate, which is a big deal. This might change the way people want to build Joker altogether, because now you're building him AD and AD pen. Sorry, straight to do as much big fat bulk burst damage with him with his rocket as possible. But now that he's getting a massive increase to his attack speed, suddenly his auto attacks become a lot more potent because you can do them a lot more frequently. This is a big change for him. I'm not sure if it'll change the way. Now, what you might want to do now is build a little crit on Joker, because he's been attacked so fast. Interesting. I'll have to rethink how I build Joker and see what we can come up with. Now we're getting a change to Violet. Let's see if they broke Violet. Violet right now, they're changing her first ability, of course. They're changing the damage down. Nothing, really. Nothing at level 1, and then 50 by level 6. So it's a very, very slight nerf in the damage to Violet for her late game. Nothing insane. Next, we're on to Wisp. Her base attack damage has gone up 10, which is actually a pretty good amount. And then her ability 1, her loose cannon, they upped the damage significantly for the base from 45 to 75 at level 1 and from 120 to 200 at level 6. But they changed the scaling from 1.1 AD to 0.9 AD. So overall, early game damage boost, late game damage nerf. The cooldown has also been reduced though, so she can do more options. Overall, I think that it's going to be good. A ratio of enhanced normal attack damage dealt to splash enemies. So remember, her first ability, Loose Cannon, is when she... actually, let's double check. Loose Cannon is Wisps' first ability. She charges forward. She enters the barrage mode, and she starts firing those cannon bombs. Those bombs or cannon shots, whatever you want to call them. For 5 seconds, she gets an increase. So now, they used to splash damage and deal damage to everyone around that person, kind of like a melee attacker would. Now it's 50% of the damage instead of 100%, but she can do it more often. Overall, I'd say that's a nerf. And then, okay, now this is interesting. Her second ability, Barrel Bomb, that's the big barrel she rolls out that explodes big and stuns. So the way that reads exactly is, I'm not gonna read it exactly, but anyways, they've increased the rolling speed of it from 8 meters per second to 10 meters per second. So it's gonna be easier to land that ability for sure. Her ultimate, Shock and Awe. Targets in range of ultimate are slow by 20%. That's great. So I don't think her ultimate needs to have a slow at all. That's gonna help keep people in her ultimate longer. Overall, I think this is a slight nerf to Wisp, but it's a nerf to her first ability, which is a little bit overpowered as it was, and a buff to her second ability and ultimate, which were a little bit underpowered as it was. So I just can't stop hiccuping. Overall, it's going to kind of even out, but I think Wisp is going to be a little bit better because she's going to have the ability to use her second and third ability a little bit more, a little bit better. So next, we're on Apira. Ability 1, Healing Light. HP recovered. They change. So this is a little bit less effective on tanks. The base used to be 60 plus 20 per level, plus a 10% AP scaling, plus 10% of the target's launch HP per second. Now it's 80 plus 25 per level, plus the 10%, same 10%. So the 80 and the 25 are higher. And then it's plus 7% of the target's lost HP instead of 10%. So the healing won't be that much different on people who need it, like damage dealers, but it'll be a little bit less significant on takes. Then they changed the third ability. Pyrrha got real strong last patch, so kind of trying to balance her out a little bit. Nature's Rally. Armor for allies is increased from 20 and 50 per level to 150 plus 35 per level, so they've really nerfed that hard. And then they've stun time has been reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. So a solid nerf across the board on Pyrrha, which is interesting. Then we have Wukong. Ooh, I like this change. Oh, wow. Big time changes for Wukong coming in. Okay, ability 1, Shadow Clone. That's when he goes invisible. He has an attack speed or a movement speed boost. And of course, he can proc his passive, which is the increased range attack. The cooldown was 15. It's getting moved to 12. And then late game, it's going on 9. This is going to make me farm a lot faster. I can promise you that. Much faster farming for Wukong in the jungle. 3 seconds reduced early game is a big deal. And it's shorter across the board until level 6. So it won't help his late game any, but it'll definitely help him get gold faster, guaranteed. So I like that. Wukong is going to become a more prominent jungler, I believe, because this is help his farming quite a bit. And then his ultimate monkey business, new mechanic, when the second phase of the ultimate is cast. So remember, you can hit the ultimate, bam, big AoE stun to everyone around him. And then you can cast it again, and it gives you a slight movement speed buff, and it turns you invisible again. Well, now all slowing effects on himself are removed. That is absolutely excellent. So that's actually one of the big deals about that. When you need to hit that button to get away, you're slowed, so you stay invisible, you don't get away as fast, and you become visible again close by. Now, what makes Wukong special is the ability to go invis, get to a bush, and then be able to hit one of his other abilities to help get out. He's an amazing juker, probably one of the best jukers in the game. Now, that's going to be easier as you can remove all slowing effects on you when you go invis after casting your ult the second time. It's a big time deal. Wukong's juking just became... I actually thought that the invis option on the ultimate wasn't worth a crap before because it wasn't enough to help to get you safety, but now it definitely is. So I'm really looking forward to that. My boy Wukong just got a nice solid buff. I'm never going to be able to stop hiccuping. Next is Ari. Ari got changed from warrior to assassin, which makes sense. She's very assassin-y. She's kind of tanky though. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but they nerfed her her base damage went up, her base armor went down, so she's becoming a lot more assassin. She's getting a lot more damage, armor for the base, and then her ultimate Ryu, the stun time reduced from 1.25 seconds to 1 second. So that's interesting. She's definitely going to be doing more damage. I don't know that it'll really change the potency of Ari at all. Now we're on to Zephys. Mana 1, Death Rift. That's where he dashes forward. He does damage as he dashes through somebody, and then he his next auto attack is enhanced. They reduce the mana cost significantly, and then they reduce the mana cost significantly of his ultimate, Death from Above. The one thing that really slows Death down right now is that he runs out of mana really quickly. Now he's not going to. This helps tremendously. It's not a lot, but it's enough to make a big difference. Next, we're on to Cricknack. And they've nerfed his damage. Not a lot, but enough to make a difference. 690 to 660 at level 1, 1150 to 1100 at level 3, and the scaling from 265% to 260%. This isn't really anything to write home about. It's not a huge change for Cricknack. I already think Cricknack is an overrated assassin as it is. He is probably one of the squishiest heroes in the game. A little bit less damage is not going to help his case any. Alright, Baldum is getting quite a few changes here. Let's check him out. We have his first ability, Wild Charge. That's where Baldum charges forward and flips enemies over his head. The damage is reduced significantly early game, 25 early game, and it is increased by late game from 400 to 425. So it balances out. And it used to be 20% of armor and 30% of your AD. Now it's 30% of armor and 50% AD. So really the damage on Baldum's first ability just got increased by quite a lot. I can safely say that's going to be a big increase in his damage of his first ability. The cooldown is also decreased from 13 to 12 at level 1, and then from 11 to 10 at level. So a second across the board is the cooldown. So that's, I mean, it's helpful. Baldum just became better. Wild Stomp. 50, the physical damage 50 to start. Stays the same. The scaling goes down from 75 at level 6 to 80. So it goes up, sorry. Armor goes from 5% to 7%. Each stop member of the second ability is where he stomps on the ground and does damage to slows. So the 2% extra armor damage is a lot because it's per stop, and then the AD is still 30%. So that could end up being worthwhile. Let's go into hero trial mode on Baldum while we're on him and see how much armor he builds and what exactly that could amount to per attack, because that could actually end up being worthwhile. And then his ultimate, Wild Prison. The warning circle of the ultimate appears half a second earlier. That's nuts. I feel like that. Hopefully that's reduced because they used to give already a big warning. I think they've reduced. I think that's saying they've reduced it. When Baldum smashes his totem into the ground, he causes a 50% slowdown for 1.5 seconds instead of the previous 2 seconds, and there's a 90% decrease in movement speed for 0.6 seconds before the ground collapses. It sounds like Baldum's ultimate just got easier to hit to me, but the slow isn't as significant. So I think that has improved. We'll get the final numbers on that. But you know, I was just thinking about. I don't know if I leveled up on Violet earlier when I was testing her stuff out. Let me do my build on Baldum. Okay, so I got a full build on Baldum. His armor total is up to 1170. So you're talking about 2% of the armor. That's actually a pretty significant amount, especially per hit. Let's get the old calculator out. We're going to put it over here, I guess. Okay, so let's start with the first ability. The armor is up from, it's up 10%. So 10% of the armor is 170 extra damage. That's a lot of extra. So we got 25 plus 100, well, 117. So we have, and then the AD scales up too. And AD is not nothing. I mean, that's 20% of your AD is still going to be a decent amount. Your AD on Baldum with an all tank build is 346. That's with no damage items. Right? Yeah, no damage items. Okay, so we're looking at 346 divided by times 0.5 is 173 plus we're talking about more of the armor. So now the armor is, so 173, remember that? Then we do the armor of 1170 times 0.3 plus 173 plus the base of 425 now. So the additional damage of that is 1,000 damage now for the physical for Wild Charge now at full build. That's impressive. That's more than it used to be for sure. And then per stomp, we used to do, we're going to be doing 80. Then the armor, so let's see, the base armor was 1170. Then we do 0.0 7%, so it's more now. It's 82 plus the 80 we already get, plus our 80 scaling. So we have 162, and then our 80 scaling is the same. So 350 roundabouts times 0.3 plus 170. All right, is that where we're at? 275. So we're going to get a 275 per attack. Maybe 280. I lost track there, but yeah, so pretty decent. And then of course, the ultimate has just been changed a little bit into doing the way it spawns and the slows and stuff it does. So it sounds like, oh, I think I understand how that works. So the warning circle appears sooner, but there's a 90% slow inside of that circle, so you can see it, but you're slow by 90%, which is a lot. And then the thing hits. Okay, I think that's what it's saying, which is interesting. Next, we're moving on to your boy Slims. Base HP down, growth HP down, and then first ability Flying Spear. Let's go up a little bit. Movement speed increased upon hitting a hero from 60%, starting at 30 and going up to 80% depending on the distance. So your movement speed increase has gone up now based on that. And then Lubu has been changed. His growth attack speed has gone down, which is a bummer for him. Base HP has gone down, and then there's a new passive on his passive. Every ability cast increases attack speed by 10% up to a max of 5 stacks for 3 seconds. So you can get 50% attack speed as you continue to cast his abilities, and then, but you've lost. Now, one thing that I think is interesting is it doesn't say when you hit an enemy with your abilities. This is when you cast it. So if you're casting his abilities to get to a place, because you know they movement apparently they make him jump over stuff and whatnot. He lost 15% of his growth attack speed. So level 15, he'll lose 15% attack speed, but he's going to gain 50. So overall, a 35% attack speed boost at level 6 or level 15 when you have max stacks. So interesting. Wonder Woman. She became tankier. You don't. Holy crap. Base armor up, base attack damage up, and growth attack speed up. So she just gained 15% attack speed, some base damage and armor, which is making her stronger. Emily, her ability to combo. The cooldown was reduced from 7 seconds to 6 to just 6 static across all 6 levels. And her ultimate, they've increased the movement speed damage that she gets from 40 to 50. And they increased the damage that she blocks from 40 at level 1 and 80 at level 6 to 50 and 100. So it's made her ultimate a little bit more potent and reduced the cooldown of her second ability combo. Next, Roxy. They've decreased her growth HP significantly from 352.8 to 319.2, and her ultimate Agnes's Grasp. If a hero is hit by the ultimate, the cooldown of her first and second ability are simultaneously refreshed. So that's interesting. So she can get her flame back up immediately, and her second ability up immediately, which is both interesting things. And then the magic damage has been changed. The base is down. It's all down across the board. So the base is 75, 100, 125 is down to 40, 60, 80. It's a pretty significant decrease. It's still 4, 5, and 6% of the target's current HP. And the additional damage will not exceed 300 damage. Cooldown has been increased though. So across the board, Roxy's getting nerfed. Max's first ability is the Bionic Blender, which I believe is just the one where he spins in a circle, if I'm not mistaken. We'll double check that in a second. When he spins in a circle, movement speed increased after hitting enemy from 6 to 10%, and max movement speed increase of 30% remains unchanged. So it's easier with less. So it used to be per, I think it was per target. He used to get 6% movement speed per target hit. Now it's 10%. 10%. So he used to max out 30% if he hit all 5 people. Now he's going to max out. Oh, my color's all jacked up. Now he's going to max out at 30% by only hitting 30 people. So then we have Ormar. We're almost at the bottom, guys. Ormar. Passive Gut Punch. Physical damage is decreased early game. It levels out at late game. And stun time is it scales now from 0.75 to 1 second. So he's got a slight nerf on damage, slight increase on his overall. Crowd control. Tara. Passive. New mechanics, your passive. All abilities cost 8% of her current HP. Ratio of HP recovery from using abilities 3 to 6%. So let's go read that in the game to see exactly what that means. Because that is an interesting change, and I want to see exactly how that reads. Tara. Should be at the bottom of my list. I don't play Tara very often. She gains 2 to 5 attack damage, scales with hero level for each 1% of HP lost. 8% of her HP is consumed on ability use, but 6% is restored over 3 seconds. So she gains health back, but she has to use health to do her abilities. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Okay, now we're on a Kilgroth. Kilgroth. All my coloration is. I look white as balls now. Okay, Kilgroth. Second ability, Enraged Spear. Now, just for references, Enraged Spear is the ability Kilgroth used. That gave him extra abilities. So remember, it had a passive effect where it upped the magic damage of every third passive normal attack. So that's been upped. So his damage has gone up. Not the scaling, just the flat damage. It's gone up 15 at every level. And the magic damage of third normal attack when the ability's been activated has gone up again at late game 25 in the skin. So barely a damage buff for Kilgroth. Thane's base movement speed is up, which is good. Thane's movement speed is one of the issues. One of the reasons he doesn't get played very often. His passive, Royal Power, the duration has been decreased from 6 to 4 seconds. And then he has a 25% damage reductive when active. So just to refresh everyone's memory on what his passive does, Thane's passive currently reads like this. When Thane's HP falls below 30%, he reduces damage taken by 25%. So that's part's new. He reduces damage taken by 25%. That's excellent. That makes Thane a lot more tanky. And he regenerates 24% of his maximum HP. So before, it used to take him 6 seconds to regenerate 24% of his maximum HP. Now it takes 4 seconds, and he gets a damage reduction. So he's just got a lot more tanky. Okay, let me drink a little drink. Now we're moving on to Arthur. His passive has changed. Okay, so Arthur's passive, of course, gives him some armor. And it changed that to giving him 60 more armor base. Simple as that. Next, they've changed some equipment adjustments. Okay, first is gloves. The price has gone down 70 for the gloves, which is interesting for early game for some heroes. Not significant. Clave Sanctity's price down. Boom, love that. Slick Sting's price down. Boom. I like that, but Clave Sanctity's not used very often anymore. Or, sorry, Devil's Handshake and Slick Sting, price down. Bam. So, some of the heroes, namely like assassin type heroes, like Wukong, who use Clave Sanctity, get gloves at some point, I think. Let's see, the gloves. Yeah, gloves up crit chance. So crit chance items have changed. Devil's Handshake, of course, gives you guys the movement speed. It does give 20% crit too. It gives the movement speed, attack speed, crit chance, and then it gives you attack speed that stacks. So it looks like the 3 main crit items have changed in price substantially. I mean, the Clave Sanctity went down 130 gold, 80 gold for Slick Sting, and then 110 gold for Devil's Handshake. Now we have Ring of the Fiend. So that's the support item that gave you vision of people who were hidden. That increased from 10 meters to 12 meters. That's good. Purifying Bracers are another support item. They've, let's see, what do they do? It removes crowd control effects on heroes nearby. The range has been used for that from 5 to 7. That's a pretty significant increase in the range for removing crowd control effects. Increases your movement speed by 20 to 30%. That's a really good deal. That's part of the same active effect. And the duration is once. It makes you immune. Oh no, the movement speed. the movement speed is increased from 20 to 30%, and it used to last 1 second. Now the increased movement speed lasts 2 seconds. So it's the cooldown is 96. I mean that Purifying Bracers the active effect on Purifying Bracers just got a buff across the board. Okay, Hunter's Crossbow, which is the first jungle item. That used to be the Hunter's Crossbow. It's now called Kukri. It looks like a little machete type thing. They've changed the name of it and the icon. Then we're on a Scorching Wind. Sorry. I'm struggling with them hiccups. The unique passive of Scorching Wind. Normal attacks place a mark on the target, dealing additional magic damage. It used to be 18 plus hero level times 0.5. Magic damage each stack. Range attacks deal 79% of damage, up to 6 stacks. Now it's normal attacks place a mark on the target, dealing 15 magical damage with each stack, plus 1 per level, 1 per 3 levels, up to 6 stacks. So they've really nerfed Scorching Wind, I think, quite a bit. Let's see. 15, it used to be 8 base, 18 base. No, I think it's better now. Let's do the math on that. So let's just see what it was at. Okay, apparently not. Calculator. Alright. It used to be, so a flat 18 plus hero level. So let's say plus 15. 33 is what it used to be. Times 0.5. Oops, I lost it there. Let's get back. Okay, so we're at 16.5. And then you used to be able to stack it up 6 times. To a total of 100 damage per auto attack. Now, it's a flat 15. Plus 1 per 3 levels, which gives us 5 more. Up to 6 stacks. So it's more damage. It's now 120 instead of 100. So it's gone up in damage. So Scorching Wind has received a buff. Soul Reaver. I love Soul Reaver. Please don't ruin it. Okay, Soul Reaver got a change. They removed the attack damage from 80 to 40. And new mechanics. So this is new overall. Let's get this in the prime time location to see. Okay. Soul Taker. Next ability or normal attack on a hero deals an additional 300 plus 20 per level magic damage. And damage output is increased by 7% for 3 seconds after melee combat only with a 30-second cooldown. I mean, that's solid. We're talking about 600 at level 15. That's 600 extra magic damage on an attack, and then a 7% increase in damage. I mean, for a guy like Wukong, big deal. He's bursty anyways, makes him even more bursty. That's good for assassin type heroes, for sure. In 3 seconds, Wukong can do all of his abilities, so that's definitely good for him. Loki's curse has been changed. The magic damage has been reduced, which is interesting because very few magic damage dealing heroes play in the jungle. You think they want more, not less. The cooldown speed is good. I'll give you that. That's helpful. So they've reduced the magic attack damage from 150 to 120 before the passive, which makes it go up. And the max HP is gone. It's gone to 10% cooldown. So overall, I think that's a buff for Loki's curse. I'll be happy to try that out on more junglers. I mean, for Flash, love it. 30 magic attacks, nothing compared to 10% cooldown reduction. So I'm a fan of that. Barris Agony. The price has been reduced. The armor has been reduced. Audio issues. Now we're talking about other issues. The team at Hexany Audio has created something special for Clone Clash Star. Okay, I don't care. Game optimization by faces. So we have about 16 of these, and then we're done, guys. We're almost done with this. Okay. Minion wave textures have been adjusted to make it easier to distinguish their special effects, animations, and abilities so that challengers can focus on more important things such as combat. So minion waves look cuter now. Okay. Optimize the appearance of the icon beside the HP bar when the hero obtains a resurrection buff or the ability to summon a Drake. Okay. Added backdoor protection text to towers. Even without minion waves, the HP bar of a tower has text that says tower has backdoor protection. Okay, so they can't be text. So now they're gonna have text showing that there's no minion waves nearby. I wonder if both teams are gonna be able to see that. Interesting. The respawn of all jungle monsters can now be set in the training camp. That's the trial mode. Iterated background stories of Valheim and Violet. Cricknat can now cast Recall and Restore and can use talents and equipment abilities while using his ultimate. So that's interesting. Mallet can use talents when casting ability 1. That's his really slow cleave ability, I think. Is it? Oh no, it's his shield or cleave. Murad's original skin can no longer be seen when casting his ultimate while in the Astral Walker skin. Oh yeah, I understand that, Bob. So, the way Murad's ultimate works is you see little flashes of him as he does his ultimate, and when he was using the Astral Walker skin, it would be his original skin, so they fixed that. Fixed the bug affecting the attack speed boost of Annette's ultimate. Interesting. I wonder what was bugged about it. I don't know. Malik's model will now display correctly. Cool. Crixie's ultimate can no longer hit a unit outside of a range of vision. For example, enemy standing in the brush area. That's awesome. That got really annoying when you run into a... That's really a big nerf to Crixie, to be honest. Crixie used to attack people in bushes all the time that she couldn't see, tossing all her abilities up there, killing people in bushes. Now, she cannot hit a... Wow, that's a big deal, especially to somebody like me on Wukong, an assassin type hero who's going to be in the bushes a lot. Huge deal. Big boost for any bush heroes. Batman, Wukong, or even Lindis who attack Crixie's. The Waterstone passive ability, Devotion, will now trigger an Abyssal Clash. Cool. And then last, Murad, Zil, etc. can now receive a buff from the enraged Abyssal Dragon after defeating it in their using their ultimate. There must have been a buff where if they were untargetable when the Abyssal Dragon died, they didn't get the buff. So that's really interesting glitch, and they fixed it. The Blitz Blade will no longer trigger Chain Lightning on towers. That's probably helpful. And the countdown timers of the Abyssal Dragon and Enraged Abyssal Dragon will no longer overlap. When both dragons enter countdown, display proximity priority will go to the one that will respawn first. And fix the bug where the Drake would get stuck at the core. Okay, guys, that is it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed a video detailing all of the changes that happened today in today's patch. It's a lot of stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, till next time.